Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video we will be analyzing ReeFleXGeo. Currently ReeFlex is number 14 Predator on PC and in this game he is playing together with Qse and Cop1. Currently Qse is number 5 Predator and Cop1 is Predator as well. So in this game they will be 3 stacking and playing against another squad that is Predator level as well. So a very balanced and fun to watch game. Big thanks to ReeFlex for providing the gameplay, he is a very good player. I played against him a couple of times, so I can know he is a top level player. Make sure to check out his Twitch and Twitter provided below, he definitely is a player you can learn a lot from. I'm still waiting for gameplay from some top level players, but the season is about to end, so maybe a new group of players will be able to get the top spots then, and I will be able to feature them. So I would appreciate it if you would subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Alright, let's start. So in today's map, ReeFlex is playing Mad Maggie with the Mosem on Party Crasher. Mad Maggie with the Mosem is of course a really strong combination, since you get extra movement speed with a shotgun and yeah, the Mozambique is like a long range shotgun, so you can have like a speed boost in every range. I recently did Masters on my second account and I wanted to rush it because I didn't want to waste any time, and yeah, Mosem Maggie is then the best combination you can use probably. And well, we will see which team will push first. That's usually what it comes down to on a ship. I'm not fully aware of where everyone is yet of the enemy team, but yeah, the Gibby is pushing already. And they try to knock the Gibby, but unfortunately ReeFlex is missing. And Cops get knocked. Gets one, but he gets swarmed by all three. So now it's up to Qse, and it's not looking very good. 2v1 and he's low, 30 HP. He needs a small miracle to win this. And unfortunately he goes down, but better luck next round. Moving up to round 2. Get opposite side of the ship. Personally, I don't really like this side of the ship. I'm usually kinda annoyed with this side because the cover is so much worse. Like you have a head glitch on the other side, you have a piece of room to play inside of when you're in trouble, and this is just open and just I think this is a disadvantage in general to play. But we will see what ReeFlex will make of it. He sees the Gibby trying to flank. At least I think it's the Gibby. Gets cracked, but can heal up easily. And he's looking at the Gibby at the flank and probably will try to knock them. That will give a big advantage if he does, and he does. So now it's a 2v3. Oh, but unfortunately Sir Cop gets knocked. It cracks the Maggie, 2v2 with one cracked. If he pushes the Maggie, it will be very good for him. Fortunately, Qse gets knocks too, but he gets the second knock. So now it's a 1v1. He punches on accident, but he hits all his shots, so he wins the 1v1. Good play by him, triple kill. Moving up to round number 3. They got the ship again. And ReeFlex is starting with trying to skynade them. Of course, a really good play on this map. If you don't know yet, skynading on ship side of Party Crasher is incredibly overpowered. Especially if the enemy team is climbing up together on top of where ReeFlex is aiming right now. You can usually get like really big hits on the ship side and engage and push from that immediately. Crack the Gibby, but not enough yet to engage a push. That's usually the case with this map. It's just or you insta push or you wait for your opportunity for the enemy to make a mistake, like one getting really low. And now it's just waiting for that mistake to happen. Both teams are just posing up. And looking for a perfect opportunity. I do like that ReeFlex and his team are posing up really wide. As you can see, one is standing on the left, one is center, one is right. This way you can always see if the enemy team is pushing, because the audio here is quite tricky. Like if someone pushes reflex side of ship and they move to the center, it's really hard to hear someone. I don't know why, but I die to it a lot. And it's like I never hear them, they just climb up out of nowhere. So that's something to take in mind, guys. Make sure you have all your angles covered here. Really important. And just waiting for big damage to happen. Reflex is using his last battery though, so a push will need to happen soon, otherwise he will just get outpoked and die for that. It's not something you want to happen, of course. He does crack one. And you can see the rate is also being low, so there should be 2 cracked. The rate is 1 now, so now a push should be engaged, and they do, of course, because yeah, it's a top team, they know this. One got knocked. Another one got knocked, so now it's a 3v1, and yeah, they just win this round. They took their opportunity and waited for the perfect moment and won. Nice play. Well, now round number 4. This time it will be the opposite side. This side usually comes down to taking center as quickly as possible, because holding center here is very advantageous. So you usually see people jump padding, ziplining, then stimming and whatsoever to get there first. Smart to play back up to use his ult, so this will negate any kind of push for this moment, and they can hold this side without a problem. The other team is now very hesitant to make any sort of push, but Cop gets, unfortunately gets really low, so they need to be really careful. The other team is grouping up trying to kill Cop, but they don't manage to do it. But it will probably mean that they will be able to take the bottom floor. And yeah, now the pace will slow down, because someone has to make the push again. It's Reflex holding the most advantageous position with the high ground, but the other team isn't far behind with their low ground push, because they can climb up from unexpected angles and maybe get a knock that way, which would engage a push for them. Zone is close now, so yeah, all the team has to stay under them. This could come down to zone closing and Reflex and his team needing to jump down. The other team, as you can see here, when you hold high, you really need to be careful for people climbing up, because yeah, they can climb up from anywhere, except your backside, but left, forward, and right side is all possible for them to climb up. So Reflex is trying to get an angle now. As you can see, you can kind of head glitch this stair, not entirely, but unfortunately Cop gets knocked, so now he needs to put the pressure on. He just misses on rate, unfortunately. This is really bad. And yeah, the round is over from this point out, unfortunately. Kus gets a nice knock, though. But yeah, it's still 2v1, so they will just stay together and make sure. Because it stays as a disadvantage and loses the round, unfortunately. Moving up to round number 5, they get ship side again. In my opinion, also the better side, as I explained earlier. And Reflex is starting with some sky nades. In case someone climbs up, they will get hit, as you can see where it landed. It doesn't look like Reflex and his team have all the angles covered, and Reflex gets hits for 100, so they need to be careful for a push now. I think the other team is pushing actually. And yeah, Reflex and his team are all on the left, so if someone would to wrap around, it would be hard to spot. Kusa and Cop are both low, unfortunately. And Yeah, it doesn't look good for Reflex now, because now it's a 1v3. But he got a really nice shot on one enemy and on the Gibby. Unfortunately, he couldn't secure the kill on the Gibby. That would be really good, because then it would be a 1v1. But the Gibby gets time to heal now, so it will be pretty tough from this point out. Nice shots on the Gibby. Gibby's cracked. Really nice PK shot again and knocks the Gibby. But he gets hit for big damage with the PK by the raid, unfortunately. Moving up to round number 6. They get ship side again. Fortunately, you don't see a lot of the other side. I used to call that side opposite. But yeah, we will see how it will play out. I think both teams are very equally matched against each other, so big pushes will not come as fast then. But yeah, Cop gets hit for 150, so at this point you always need to be careful for potential push. Because it could be an indication for the other team to make a rush for it. But Cop gets time to heal up, unfortunately. And it's back to finding an advantage for both teams. At least Reflex is putting out enough damage. I think he's out-damaging them, considering the damage he's taking, so that's always good. You're in a poke battle, out-damaging and taking less damage will be really nice, of course, because they will be out of shield before you are. At least if your team is also putting out damage, but yeah, they are all red, so you can be sure of that. Got some really nice shots on the Gibby. It's always really hard to just manage to survive. This is really nice, but yeah, again, be careful for a push at this point. Using a Mosem against a Gibby is, in my opinion, a bit tough, especially in later rounds when the purple and the reds come up. Like, you need like 6 shots to down a Gibby because of his gun shield. And his fortified perk. They're trying to focus. I think the raid who is jumping down yet, and everyone is off ship now. But as you can see now, when zone is moving to the waterfall side, it's really advantageous to get that first because of all the cover you can play, and the other team will be stuck. Let's say Reflex and his team just wait it out until zone closes. The other team will be needing to push through the open, and that could win the round easily. I think the other team has a piece of cover too, but Reflex and his team have more control over the final zone. Gets hit for quite a lot, but Kusa fortunately gets a knock, and Reflex does quite a nice amount of damage too. And Kusa and Cop play together really well, and just jumped. Moving up to round number 7, with the standings being 3-3 now. Both teams are like equally matched, which is nice to see when a top team gets challenged to this extent. Always try to get some Skynades in, but yeah, the top teams always know where to not be to avoid the Skynades, so yeah, hitting them will be less likely. They try to get Reflex though with the Knight, and it was a pretty close one, but they just missed. And yeah, it's back to Reflex and his team to post up wide, so left, center and right like I told before. Cover all your angles, and make sure you can't get pushed from an unexpected side. You see the Maggie, I think it's the Maggie, went for the bin, for the materials. And yeah, we talked about it with his teammate Kuze, and they will maybe try to focus him down, because he is not the greatest spot, the Maggie I mean. And the Maggie gets cracked. Unfortunately, he doesn't have his riot drill ready. That would be very nice to have at this moment. But he has his ult, but just about misses. But yeah, the Gibby decided to move through the Maggie to try to cover him. And yeah, that put them in a really bad spot. And that was an easy win this round. Really nice. So now going through to round number 8. Alright, now round number 8 is a ship again. I think they only got on the opposite side like once. It's kind of bummer. I wish it would happen less often, like there would be a more equal distribution of zones between rounds. But yeah, it is what it is. As you can see, this place of the ship where Reflex is kind of hard to hold because yeah, you just don't have head glitches or a nice cover to play with, like on the other side. Does put out some nice damage though. You're still ahead in terms of damage wise. And Reflex and his team are just posting up wide again, like always. This is probably the biggest thing I want you to see is how they're posting up to negate pushes from the enemy team. Mainly me as a solo queuer see that like my teammates are like posting up both left or both right or all three on the ship, and you just you can't cover all your angles at that point. So you usually you die to something unexpected. You really need to make like a mental map of where every enemy is. And if you can't cover an angle, you should have your teammates standing there to cover that. And this is something that Reflex and his team do really well. Unfortunately, Kuzu gets knocked. He went for the bin and maybe for the health or to push the Gibby, but he lost the engagement. So most likely this will move up to sudden death or Reflex. And Cop gets a really nice clutch in, but yeah, Cop goes down, so now it's 3v1. And looks like it will be over for Reflex, unfortunately. But at least we get a nice sudden death round to spectate after. Alright, moving up to sudden death. Always my favorite round to spectate from the players, because that's where the pressure is the highest and you've already been playing for like 20 minutes. Yeah, losing that is quite the pain in the ass. Don't know if you can say that on YouTube, but yeah, it is. That is usually the case. You often see people like folding under the stress and doing something stupid when sudden death arrives. Like overextending, being too passive, because they change their playstyle too much. So I'm wondering how Reflex and his team will manage. Now they go back to their posting up wide strat again. Holding their angles. Trying to sky nade. Try to get some big damage in. Looking for a mistake from the enemy. Very calculated playstyle, I will say. And a good strategy too. So one is on center from the enemies and one is on the left. I'm not sure where the third person is. Maybe they're both posting up on the left side. Or maybe both are on center, but I'm not sure. Try to push out the Gibby out of cover. We're holding the bin. And Zone will probably pull there, so it could be the strategy of the enemy team to hold that the bin there. And just wait it out, but Reflex and his team make the very smart decision to push this, since one is at the bin. But yeah, the enemy disengages. And now they hold center at the bin. The disadvantages of holding that side too early is that you can get out-angled, like you see. Cop is all the way left, Reflex are all the way on the right, and it's really hard for them to cover every angle, as you can see, and they're just getting wrecked by nades and different angles. So multiple are knocked now, and they can get their final push in and win this easily. As you can see, one got knocked by a nade, but it didn't matter, they won this easily. Just really well played, made the right decisions, and they just are very calculated in when to push, how to push, and what angles to cover. So it was really nice to see them play. Alright guys, as mentioned in the start of the video, don't forget to check out ReeFleXGeo's Twitch and Twitter. It's linked in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the gameplay and the commenting. Hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. Cheers!